This episode is sponsored by the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. June's featured entertainment includes Skillet on the 28th and Pete Davidson on the 29th. Details and tickets at HollywoodCasinoCharlestown.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino floor and attend a show. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. John Cameron Mitchell, the Tony-winning creator of Hedwig and the Angry Inch, joins the National Symphony Orchestra for Black Star, the music of David Bowie, this Friday and Saturday at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. He joined me to preview the show, calling in from the airport before catching a flight here to the nation's capital. Hey, John Cameron Mitchell. Hey, thank you so much for joining us on WTOP in Washington, D.C.
Of course. I'm in the airport getting ready to come on down.
All right. Where are you flying into? National or Dulles or BWI?
Dulles, because my flight got canceled, so it's a little farther out. But, you know, I used to live right near Dulles in Arlington as a kid.
I did not know that. Well, wait. Well,
Yeah.
Let's go into that really quick. Where exactly did you go to high school?
My dad grew up. Yeah, my dad grew up there. My grandfather, oddly, was commissioner of Social Security in the 50s.
All right.
And so he was part of that old guard, and they lived Chevy Chase Circle area. And my dad's family, all my cousins are around there. They're all coming to the shows this weekend.
That's great. I had no idea. That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for the segue. The show this weekend, it's called Black Star Symphony, the music of David Bowie. The NSO, National Symphony Orchestra, is going to be joining you at the Kennedy Center this Friday, June 28th, and Saturday, June 29th. So, but I didn't know it was a homecoming. That's pretty cool. All right. So all of your old local folks and family and friends should come out to the Kennedy Center. So if they turn out to see you, what exactly is it? Are you dressed as Bowie? Are you singing his stuff with the orchestra behind you? Yeah, paint us a picture of what it's going to be like.
Well, Donnie McCaslin, who made Black Star, Bowie's last album, with him, organized this evening, which is really an orchestral arrangement of the whole album and about 10 other Bowie songs. So it's Donnie's band, the National Orchestra, and then 3 vocalists, me, Gail Ann Dorsey, who worked with Bowie for the last 25 years of his life as bassist and vocalist, and David Poe, a wonderful artist of his own. So we all kind of divvy up all these songs. We play with each other. You know, we play with just the band and do some rock songs, but it's mostly these incredible arrangements by collaborators of Bowie, like Tony Visconti, who produced many of his great albums. And we've been doing it around the world off and on with various local orchestras.
That is going to be fantastic. So is it the whole, what was it, like a 7-track album? Is it all start to finish?
That's right. We do it in order, the album, which of course is a modern thing to do, right? When bands tour with their original album in sequence. Yeah. And then we do lots of other classics of his that are just favorites, you know, and we're doing a new one this weekend, a new rocker that I get to do at the end. So that's going to be fun. I'm hitting the ground and going straight to rehearsal to do that. And then I'll see some old friends while I'm there and remember, you know, how hot it gets in the summer.
It's been unusually, like, even more brutal this summer, like record heat last week.
I live in New Orleans now, so you can imagine that.
Oh, okay. All of us should stop whining.
Yes.
We don't know what true actual hot weather is. But
exactly.
Awesome. Okay. All right, cool. So you mentioned real quick, so you're going to do the whole album start to finish, the Black Star, his final album. And then you're also going to be doing a couple, you know, some of the quote greatest hits from his other Bowie albums. Do you mind name dropping a couple of them? I don't think it's a spoiler. They're listed on the
No. I mean, we're doing a lot. We're doing, you know, Space Oddity, Life on Mars. I'm doing Where Are We Now, which is from his, I believe, his second to last album, which I love very much. I'm doing Rebel Rebel. We're doing Let's Dance. We're doing Heroes. You know, it's nonstop fun.
Just iconic stuff. Some of the greatest music that's ever ever been produced. Ever been produced.
Yes, it's true.
And did he
I
know?
even
Do
got
you
to
think
meet him.
you actually met him?
Well, I created Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which is a
Mhm.
rock musical that was very much inspired by Bowie and Lou Reed and Iggy Pop.
Of course.
So a lot of our heroes came to see it off Broadway, and thank God I didn't know he was there. Afterwards, David Bowie, and he didn't stay after, so we thought, oh God, he hates it. And then I was at the rehearsal studio where he rehearsed because my boyfriend worked there, and he said he's here. Ran over, and he said, John, you got it right. And I was like, I got it right. I could have just died.
The
And he
ultimate
ended up
seal of
putting money in.
approval.
Yes, he ended up investing in our LA production of Hedwig and lost all his money.
Sorry, David. I think he had plenty of money to go around at that.
Yes, he was fine.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I definitely want to get into Hedwig a little more in a second, but really quick, I do want to know, what was your personal discovery listening to his music? Do you remember like the first time you picked up one of his albums, either here in
I
DC or?
do. I do. I was actually in Britain. My mom's Scottish, so I was in boarding school in Scotland, and we were allowed to watch Top of the Pops and Doctor Who. And he came on Top of the Pops, I think, doing Genie, and lizard makeup, and there was something very scary about it, and there was something about it that was very me. You're often more scared of things that you're not comfortable with in yourself than anything else, which is why when someone's homophobic, they usually have some, you know what I mean, untested feelings within. The people who scream loudest usually have a problem themselves.
Right.
So 5 years, 6 years later, he did that famous performance on Saturday Night Live with Klaus Nomi and Joey Arias, where he does Boys Keep Swinging, and he does drag, and he wears this crazy Thierry Mugler outfit. He's wearing a vase, and it blew me away. It was 79 for the Lodger album, and that really set me on my path to becoming, the weirdo, queerdo filmmaker, theater maker, performer that I am.
Awesome. It set you on your way. Well, all right. Tell us then
Exactly.
how you make it from there to Broadway. I know I guess what your big breakthrough, I guess you played Huck Finn in Big River in '85, and then I guess you were part of the original cast of Secret Garden in '91. We actually had Daisy Egan and
Yes.
Mandy Patinkin have joined us before in the past.
Oh, yes. I
But
love them.
talk about breaking into Broadway in both of those two roles, and just that must have been like a dream come true.
Yeah, there was a strange moment. I went to Northwestern in Chicago, and I had played Huck Finn in Chicago in the Goodman Theater, and there was a photo of me on some theater magazine, and it doesn't happen anymore, but an agent in New York saw it and got a hold of me somehow to audition for the understudy for Huck Finn and Big River on Broadway because they had just lost him. And, can you imagine the detective work? People nowadays, it's just, you're lucky if you get DM'd
Yeah.
and then you got a self tape. But I flew in, did a rare blues song. They're like, just do John Denver, please. And I'm like, oh, okay. And
Wait,
and
which
I
John
got it.
Denver? Which one did you do?
Oh, Country Roads or something.
Yeah, Take Me
Um,
Home. Which is, by the way,
yeah,
written about this area. By the way, he was driving
that's
around like,
right.
yeah, yep,
Yeah, it was Shenandoah, I believe. Yeah, probably on the way to West Virginia.
yeah.
But there's a sense of fate in it. So I came. It was '85. It was a scary time in New York, but very exciting. The art was powerful. It was dangerous. AIDS had just hit the streets, and that scared me. Being a little closeted boy, I came out soon after. But it was thrilling, and it was punk rock, and it was theater, and it was everything. Um, and the theater was so small, the understudies had to hang out in the Chinese restaurant bar next door. So a lot of our understudies were drunk. And then I finally went on, and they wouldn't give me a rehearsal because I was going to leave anyway. And I had a mechanical raft. I could have hurt myself. I didn't scream to my union because back then you just sucked it up and did it. But they were not very nice to me, so I ended up not coming back when they asked me to take over the role. But I got started in New York and did a action movie right after that called Band of the Hand, a Michael Mann produced film. And so really, I moved to LA. Then I came back in '90. I realized I was a New York boy, and then started writing my own piece, which was Hedwig and the Angry Inch with composer Stephen Trask, which finally got off Broadway in '98. And I made a film in 2001 that was that set me on my path.
Oh yeah, yeah. And how did the idea to do Hedwig come about? I mean, so you created it in '98, you rewrote the book, and you even starred in it off Broadway. You did the 2001 film. I guess what, you directed it, got won Best Director at Sundance. Even your performance, I think, got nominated for Best Actor at the Globes, I believe. So you've tackled this from book to page to stage to screen, but how did the idea come about, like, in the first place?
Well, I had read Plato's Symposium, and there was this beautiful story about being cut in half by the gods because we were too powerful and we're always seeking our other half, which is the feeling you get when you're, romantically inclined. And it just seemed like a great metaphor. And then I was hanging out at a drag punk bar called Squeezebox, an amazing club, and met Stephen Trask around that time on an airplane. And we started developing it at this club. I wanted to keep it out of the theaters and keep it more punk, let's say. And it took off, and we eventually, even though we were rejected by every theater in New York, we found this great producer director named Peter Askin, and he built us a theater in an old hotel that once housed survivors of the Titanic.
Oh, well, no way!
Figured into the story, yeah. It's called the Riverview. Now it's the Jane Hotel. But it was a beautiful experience that really changed me completely. Oh wait, I'm late for my plane. I gotta go.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah. Well, thanks you so much for taking the time to joining us. Everyone, check out Black Star at the Kennedy Center Friday and Saturday. Thank you so much for doing this.
All right, thank you. I'm literally getting on. I'll talk to you later.
The Tony winner heading on the plane. See you, John. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.